Hello and welcome back to the Linux Panic YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about my experiences with Debian after having used Ubuntu and several Ubuntu derivatives over the years. But first, before we continue any further, I'd like to thank my channel member, Mislav. They get early access to videos, such as this one right here, and they get a little badge next to their name whenever they comment, so other people can see that they support me. So, what do I think about Debian, and specifically Debian 12? Well, here's the thing. I've been using Debian for well over a year, closer to 2 years at this point. Now, I've used Ubuntu, I've used Pop! OS, I've used Mint, I've used Kali, and I've used Debian. I've also used Manjaro as well. I've used all of these in some form or another. Now, I like to think that I speak for the people when I say Ubuntu is all well and good. They're a sort of a user-friendly operating system, but it's the way that it's going at the minute that's causing issues. Now, we've got, for instance, snap packages which are being forced upon us by Canonical. Now, Canonical want snap packages to be the default way to install packages on Ubuntu and Ubuntu-based derivatives such as Pop! OS. Now, my experiences of Ubuntu, they're good. It works. I like Ubuntu server, but with the way it's going and the constant capturing of your data in the form of, before you've even finished installation, it's already done a capture of all your data and your system specs. Hello, Microsoft. It's whenever you do an update in the command line, it then tries to give you Ubuntu Pro and tries to sell you Ubuntu Pro as this big security thing. No. So, I'm not exactly happy with that. I know a lot of people aren't happy with snap packages being forced down our throats and Ubuntu Pro being there. But without snap packages in Ubuntu Pro, Ubuntu is pretty good. We go back 3-4 years now. It's good, it works, it does the job. It is a user-friendly operating system. Now, moving on to derivatives of Ubuntu such as Pop! OS, I can't say the same. I cannot sing the praises, as it were, of Pop! OS. Because my experiences with Pop! OS, again, they may not be your experiences, but my experiences with Pop! OS is, it just doesn't work. I know, I'm following Mr. Linus Sebastian, breaker of Linux's water cooling of pools, but it just didn't work for me. The whole point I tried out Pop! OS for my own system. Sorry about that. The whole point I tried it for my own system was just to see if it worked, and if it actually did like it advertised on the tin, which was, does this actually make it all gaming safe and easy to use, blah de blah de blah. And the answer for me was no. Because one of the big selling points for me is when a Linux operating system tries to sell to me that it works with DaVinci Resolve and it also works with my NVIDIA graphics card. And that's one of the big selling points for me. However, Pop! OS didn't even install correctly. You're probably wondering, well, what do you mean Pop! OS didn't install correctly? I installed it, but the problem is GNOME Screenshot didn't actually install. Now, GNOME Screenshot is a part of GNOME, and that is the base desktop environment that installs when you install Pop! OS. The thing being, GNOME Screenshot utility did not install. However, the GNOME screenshot utility icon and being able to search it was all there. It just didn't launch, it just didn't exist. But it was there. That's something we'd expect from Windows, but when Windows has something that isn't actually installed, throws an error and says, this doesn't exist, do you want to delete the shortcut or what have you? It didn't with Pop! OS. And I was having issues with my graphics card, just didn't want to see it or pick it up or work. And at that point in time, I was using an AMD graphics card with an AMD CPU. So this whole argument of, oh, you were using NVIDIA, that's why it doesn't work, it's an invalid argument. But it just didn't work. Like, if I tried it now, it may work, and I may try it again in the future. But for right now, I don't like it. It didn't work for me, and that's what pushed me off. Now, admittedly, we have hundreds of thousands, if not hundreds of millions, of different computer combinations of hardware, like RAM, CPU, motherboard, graphics card. We've got hundreds of thousands of them, like, to possibly choose from in different configurations. 1 stick of RAM, 2 stick of RAM, 3 sticks of RAM, 4 sticks of RAM, 8 sticks of RAM. But here's the thing. That shouldn't be a limiting factor for why something just doesn't install or just doesn't work as advertised. And that is one of the big reasons why we want to move, or why I don't use Ubuntu and Ubuntu derivatives. With my Debian system, if I break something, I know I've broken it. Or recently, if you've been watching some of my old videos in the past couple of weeks, you've noticed how every time I've been trying to update and install something, it's also trying to rebuild kernel headers at the same time. The reason why it's trying to be installing kernel headers at the same time is because I have fucked up and have 3 different headers running in the background. So every time it was trying to update, it was trying to update those headers and build them at the same time. Now, that's funny. But it was doing what I'd asked it to, which was run the 3 headers. And I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. It turns out it's because it was 3 headers running at the same time, of kernel version 5, a kernel version 6, and a kernel version 6. But this is that thing, no sugar, don't worry, it's not alcohol. But it's, with Debian, you ask it to do something, and it does. And if they say there's a problem, they actually try and fix it. Now, Debian means a lot to the world in general, because A, it just works, and B, it's so customizable. It's used a lot. Ubuntu is based off of Debian, for God's sakes, yet there's no snap packages being forced down throats or anything like that, and that is what grabs me. I can install Debian on any system that I want and say, okay, please just install this, this, and this, and work. So I've got my own NeoFetch config file. I've got my own Cinnamon desktop environment config file. If you've watched my videos, you know that I like to have my desktop look like Windows XP. It's because I think Windows XP desktop look cool, and I like it. But the thing is, I had issues with that on Ubuntu, because I don't get the choice of desktop environment install, and that's what gets me. Like, yeah, it's nice to have an operating system with its own desktop environment, with its own installer, but why? Why break what is already good and doesn't need fixing? That's what grinds me with Ubuntu and Ubuntu-based derivatives. Kali Linux is based off Debian, and it uses the Debian style installer, and it just works. The reason why it just works is because it uses what already is working, and they haven't tried to change it. Like, yeah, we all know the Debian installer is kind of long-winded, and it gives you 1,000,001 options, but it's because it's the long-winded and 1,000,001 options that we all like. Now, I'm not saying that the Ubuntu installer is bad or anything. It just doesn't give you choice. And I've been using Linux on and off now since 2016, 2017. And the thing that grinds me the most is we are locked down. Some of the big and well-known operating systems lock you down. I like Arch Linux because it gives you options from the point of install. Once you're installed, you're given a command line only and told, do it yourself. With Ubuntu, yeah, it's got all of the support and what have you, but it's locked down. With Debian, it gives you all of the desktop environments you could ever want to install on your operating system. Like, yeah, I'm slightly annoyed that when I go to log in that the numlock isn't automatically turned on. That annoys me. But I don't care about that. But so many other things and other operating systems follow after Ubuntu just don't want to work. And I know it sounds ridiculous me being Mr. Picky when I am Linux for all, and I am Linux for all, but there are some pretty key issues that could be fixed. But that's how I feel about that one. I hope you liked the video. If you have, hit the like button. If you dislike it, dislike. They both work. You can only see one. Remember, when you use Linux, don't panic. I have been Nick. You have been amazing, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.